I've realized so much before making this video. It feels like since 6 a.m. this morning, the amount of realizations that have hit me before starting this series have been wild. It felt like every single 10 minutes it was a different realization. I mean, man. So let's kick this series off right. Realignment 2.0. And let's just say whew, the amount of realizations I've had are quite hilarious when I think about it, man. When I think about it, dude, it's actually funny. Guys, welcome to the story. The story, yeah. Well, true. The story of Lunar. Or Jarrell. It's alright. You can call me either. I am going to leave a link to a video down below to a second channel. If you guys are interested in watching that video, that I called the video Enlightenment. I also left it in my community tab and I said a specific person is supposed to see this video. So I don't believe everyone will discover the video, which is totally okay. But yeah, man, before I begin this, I just want to say these are all my experiences. These are my perceptions and the ways I've reached what quote unquote some people would say is creating heaven on earth. And yeah, and just getting to that state of mind of being really zen. And the reason I'm calling the series Realignment 2.0 is because what I realized is when I was going along the journey of enlightenment the first time, I realized a lot of funny things at this point now. And one of the biggest points is, and let's just kick it off, let's just start off, is that you absolutely need nothing and no one outside of yourself to have any of these realizations. And you do and you don't in a sense. But what I mean is, like, when it comes to learning this information, you don't. And I had a whole video list ready, everything, movie clips to show you from Revolver, which I want to say that right now. Look up Revolver, the roof scene, and then elevator scene if you want. If not, don't spoil the movie for yourself. Just go watch. But there are so many beautiful movies that came to me along my journey, like The Truman Show. And I realized, holy shit, this was the Jarrellman Show. The Truman Show was showing you what happened during awakening. And what I realized is all the dreams and everything that I've been having back in the past and even now were getting me to come back to myself. The whole reason I felt so odd and out of place and different when I even heard certain spiritual teachers talk or gurus talk, but I was led to ones that really pointed you to yourself. I was so grateful for that because I didn't agree with most of what people were talking about, like in the beginning, the astrological signs and your zodiac signs and how they play in. And what I realized is, holy shit, I was right all along. But you know what the joke is they're also right. It's all love. But the very fact that there are people that can still fight over their zodiacs, fight over if crystals are important, are still caught in the same narrative. And that's why I noticed when I bring certain things I've done to certain people, they'll literally ask me, like, how did you manifest this? How did you do this? And they'll have questions. And I'm like, wait, are you guys not experiencing the same things as me? And then I started to realize, holy shit, there is actually still a separation of people, and not like separation in terms of like we're different. No, but a separation in between what is someone actually being of source and what's not. And the simple thing that's the difference is the people that are still stuck in the conversation of saying all of these spiritual terms. And I recognize this when I even talked to someone before where I said, like, well, everything is the mind. And like, well, when we got deeper into a lot of concepts and stuff, I realized that I think they were even bothered, and I can't say I think this, but I felt that way a little bit, that they were bothered when I said that angel numbers really don't mean anything anymore. I realized that they weren't at that level even when I said that angel numbers don't matter to me. I even gave them the honoring of their experience and said, no, like I honor that you are at a point where angel numbers mean a lot to you, but I'm at the point where I've seen them so much and been guided by them that they don't really mean anything. It's just what we are naturally. But I still see that people are still stuck in the religion of almost certain things. Aside from actual religion, they make spirituality a religion. And I remember one of the earliest teachers I followed who made the transition. I made a video honoring him where he said, you're going to get to a point where you realize this. And what's funny is I didn't even realize that my bro who had a near-death experience was trying to tell me this the whole time. We recognized very early on that all of this was us pushed out. And that's a very high level to be jumped into from the start. Whereas everybody else is kind of walking this journey of realizing like, oh, like this, and maybe they be vegan over here. Then they like all of these realizations where to us, we were so broken and punching at the clouds, like asking God, why, that we got the answer. When we wanted the truth, both of our lives fell apart and we had to do introspection and really look at ourselves. And I realized, holy shit, our intuition was telling us from the beginning that we were different. That like, yo, no, like, and not different in a bad way where it's like, oh, there's people under us. No, we're all the same in essence. But the thing is there's a very different distinction between people who actually embody what they say and are just saying it. So I used to feel guilty, right, of saying like, no, certain people are actually just speaking spirituality rather than embodying it. And I felt bad for no reason other than myself, because it felt selfish to think like that. But then what I realized is, oh my gosh, that's what it is. It's perspective at the end of the day. It's actually a higher perspective and a higher mind that you take on where I remember Brother Panic saying this, that once you take on the mind of God, of course, the human mind cannot understand the mind of God. So of course people are going to find you strange and weird and be threatened by your presence. Because what I realized is, yo, I'm literally over here asking for help, being like, yo, I'm having these visions. I'm predicting people's deaths. I predicted car crashes, and I'm over here asking others who aren't at this level of mind, instead of going within, what am I seeing? Even my cousin, no disrespect to her and I honor her experience, would even tell me like, oh, there's these mystery schools and you got to be initiated. And even though I would tell you this, you wouldn't listen to me. No, what I ended up realizing is anything on the external of you is still going to speak of you from within. Because from these dreams from day one, I've been going to different dimensions. I mean, I released a video on this channel where I talked about being an angel and I was flying in the buildings saving everyone. And the more I tried to save everyone, I became still anchored to this reality. You can literally find this video in my Lunars Lost Treasures. And what I realized is, yo, then that dream was foretelling the future to come, because after I ended up manifesting like a lot of money, right? And the Honda Civic and a lot, and moving to Austin, Texas, I realized through all that time when I started to involve people on the external to me, like going to Florida just because I knew I didn't know, funny enough, who I'd be living with, quote unquote, but wanting to, going back into fear of that, not being able to just do things on my own, as I lowered myself and ended up being that angel that end up chained. But even though, what's funny is, even though through all of that, I still rose above everything that was happening to me. Man, I've heard people say that they're unconditional love. Like, that's what I realized. It really is true. This school, or some people's perspectives can make them think that Earth is a prison. The way they speak is just gossip rather than actually embodying it. Man, I've heard so many times, oh, I know we're divine and we're gods. And then they'll get triggered at the fact that they can't find their phone. See, so I started to realize, wow, there actually is a separation here. And it's not bad. It doesn't mean we're good or bad. It's just like the story of Jesus Christ getting crucified. That's why when I would say that in videos, I wouldn't even realize what I was saying, which shows that I didn't even hit that level of understanding. But the moment I actually hit the level of understanding was that everything was working in my favor was when I started to see like, you know, like my ex, like, you know, it was my birthday and somebody that I was really close to, you know, a female friend of mine, got me French toast for my birthday. This is when I was living in Austin, Texas. And just off of this person seeing that, and you could relate it to Judas in the Bible, people said, like, I haven't read the Bible, but I heard this story being told by another guy who awakened named Life is But a Dream, where he just keeps it real with you, where he said he was like him. He had to realize there's no one doing anything outside of himself, but it had to be a knowing. Like, you feel it. And what I realized, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, is that when she, you know, talked to me, I never expected this level of, like, you know, what someone would say in human terms as disloyal or whatever. But for her to come into my apartment and be like, oh, can we talk? And then, you know, I follow her back outside to talk on my birthday. And then she asked me for bottles of water. And when I go to get the water, she followed me up the stairs, and I said, hey, I can just bring the water back down to you. And as I put the key in the door, I turn around and boom, because I heard something, and she pepper sprayed me all over my face and kind of missed. And I realized in that moment, I felt nothing. I felt complete bliss. And I was like, oh, this is the crucifixion of the energy, because the energy that would have gotten upset at that is gone. I'm no longer Jarrell. I'm not even lunar in a sense. I'm just having fun creating. And even to this day, it's like my parents, my aunt, who when they came back, or like even a situation that happened more that I won't go into detail with, they can't understand. Like even when I talked to the certain cousin that told me about these schools and mystery schools to be initiated, told me like was like, you know, I'd give you advice, but you're not gonna. It's like, oh my God, I realized I don't even need it. I'm me. It's me. The knowledge speaks of me. The crystals, the astrology, it's all yourself. So I'm not saying me as in a narcissistic way. I'm saying it's you, like the pantheon of gods. No wonder Panic was saying this. Even when I found Aaron Dowdy through synchronization, even he was speaking of it, saying you don't need any of these gurus online. And that's what I realized. That was the question I kept asking my cousin, is if there was a guy in a remote island who didn't have access to a Bible and any of this, how would he come to the knowing of his higher self? And I think she gave me an answer. And funny enough, thinking back to what she said, she gave me an answer that is not necessarily false, but comes of the consciousness of someone who would not understand like the question. Because I think, which I don't think that, like, I don't want to put that on her, but I think at the time she even told me that person would have to like find an initial. No, what I realized is no, you don't. Your source from the beginning. The very moment you took on concepts, you became denser as a human. You took on a dense mindset. So now, like me coming into this realization now, this is why I call it Rel Enlightenment 2.0, because I realized even my bro that is very close to me, he even couldn't believe like how I just let that slide. And what I realized is, because if we're gods and he's been telling me day to day to embody that mindset, then I can't let someone pepper spraying me or someone external of me take my power away from me, because I'm in heaven. Like I laughed it off, because I realized like, like I'm good. Like even when I returned home and seen the mindsets, I was like, wow, I see the separation. Like even when people say that I love you, that could be said from a certain place of not love. Like the very person that's saying I love you, they could go behind your back, like it happened to me, and pepper spray you. So it's not like love is set on different dimensions. Like I think people that have told me they know what unconditional love is and speak from it, they don't even know what it is. And it's a very obvious thing, but I realized like, yeah, man, everything that's said about me, like, yeah, take it, man. I've realized in situation, I've literally said, yeah, take it here. I'm exhausted. Yep, I've done this, and this. Oh, yep, yeah, you feel like I betrayed you, this, and that. Oh, my mindset offends you, this. Yeah, take it all, because I'm in my own energy. And now I've realized when people have talked about why they have so much respect for me and like my mindset, and it pulled them out of certain places, I've realized the being that I had to be to even achieve that mindset, because I had to go through literally a path of losing my mind and pain and breaking down and crying and looking at the sky and being like, why the fuck are we here? And is there all this war and pain and kidnapping and this and all of that? I seen it all, and I realized it was to break who I was and who I thought I was in relation to the world, when I realized I am nothing and everything at the same time. That is what it is. It is source. And you really can't get someone to understand that. It's just, they're going to walk into it at their own time. It's you, but you can never convince someone. That's why I say the movie Revolver shows you it the best. Is it shows him at that rooftop scene, literally like the two people represent his consciousness and source, obviously, but they literally say that best friend in your mind convinced yourself that he's you. And where would that person be able to hide? Behind your pain. I had someone who said that they were unconditional love. The same person turn around and be like, or heard them on the phone, talking to all their people, oh, can't trust niggas and can't do this. And I was like, wow. And that came from the same place of somebody that said they practice unconditional love, or that they know at least what it is. And that's not, because the very human mindset is a condition. So I realized I was on the right journey all along. Like, enlightenment and awakening will make you not want to be around people. And now I realize why I fought so hard to get my own apartment and go to Austin, Texas, or why certain scenarios I fought so hard to be removed from certain situations. Like, I remember when I was in Florida, I met a guy, I made a video on it. These videos still exist, where I talked about meeting him, where he literally sat outside the car and he was just going to put the business card in the door. But he sat there watching me shoot this entire video, and he talked about the light that was literally emanating off me. And that light came off of me because I've walked through darkness. And it was funny. And I was like, yo, it's funny that you see that. And I know that you must be someone who sees that or resonates with it, because when I was walking through this path of trying to figure out what I was and what source was and what God was, it wasn't this. I was and it still happens to this day, having people tell me I'm blessed by the devil and this and those. Some of those were close family members. And what I realized is, yo, I'm in the journey. So I realize it now. It's like, it's no disrespect to anyone that I just see that everyone is where they're at in consciousness, and you don't hold anything against them. But even when, what do they say, that Jesus made water to wine or whatever the whole thing is? I realized that, yeah, even that, when you're manifesting things, like, people will look at you, like, when you talk about manifestation, and they'll think you're a magician and be like, oh, manifest this right now. But then I realized, oh my God, they realize that's not how it works. Like, we're not magicians. It's just who we are. We're spirits in being. But then I realized it was just like this big ass wake up call to realize where the hell I am. I was like, funny enough, to say where the hell I am, because the I am, which is the highest form of consciousness, you see that, like, everyone who says I think I think therefore I am is the highest I am. So you think about that. Where the hell am I? You get it? You're in hell. And that's just the funniness. It's just heaven and hell are states of mind. So, because I realized that, man, I've realized my entire life I've been completely different to everyone, but I still had conditional things that I had on. Like, I wore my heart on my sleeve. I was very vulnerable and all of that. And I think that was a key player into why my enlightenment happened so young, or why I started awakening so young, which was around 14 to 18, questioning why I exist here. Because I had a very, like, low state of mind, like saying like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, what is this? And not believing in myself. But then when I started to believe in myself, I started to really see the fakeness of the world. And I was like, oh man, I'm exhausted. Like, I don't want to do any of this, because I don't care for really any celebrity. I respect everyone's hard work and what they created in a dream sense, but I never put anyone above me. And I realized that too, when I even heard about religion and everything, and people were saying fear God. I had to delve into that. I said, I want to know. God, show me why I should fear you. What is fearing God? Fear, like, I need to know why people say fear God. And I realized it's fear of themselves. And I laughed when I got the realization. it was like, yo, their fear, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's, there was so many twists and turns of how this narrative works, and everything was revealed to me so long ago that when it got revealed when I wasn't ready, I walked right back into the consciousness that wasn't ready. I realized that there is no such thing as being selfish because we're all connected in essence. So when you go within your inner world, you're not being selfish to other people. That doesn't even exist. That's not a concept that exists. When you help yourself, you do help others because we're all the same in essence. And on a human understanding level, yes, there actually can be, like, I don't want to say anyone particular, but now I see why certain spiritual people or gurus come off as narcissistic, because it looks like they're for themselves, but the very mindset of being for themselves is being of a divine mind helping others. And I realize that's why it's, you really like it, I just, oh my gosh, these realizations hit me so crazy all day today. Like, I thought I was going through it, man. And I've been having dreams, and peep, off of the energy that I've been on from all this, man, I've been having, actually, I think I should chop this up and do a next video. So we'll talk about it in the next video. We'll talk about the dreams I've been having and everything. But yeah, man, I'm gonna leave that video link to the other channel down below this one. So much love and Moonlight if you enjoyed this, and let's get it.